I'm Sarah Knight, and welcome to It's Got Pockets, where just like finding the surprise pockets in your favourite trousers, I'm bringing you perfect pockets of joy and realness. Every week, I'm having unfiltered conversations with women who crack the feck on, even when life gets proper lifey. Women with experience, expertise and wisdom. Because sometimes the best stories start in the middle. Women who've been there, done that, and are still figuring it out. Join me for real talk, useful tactics, and all the swears in between that make your life and business feel that bit more manageable. Well, hello. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of It's Got Pockets. You know, the podcast for us women who've done the bloody hard work. We're fucking sick of being asked what's for tea every single night. We've worn the mask of success, and actually, we're ready for a little bit of time for us. We're ready to find our purpose, find our fire again, and crack on with what we want to do, what brings us peace and purpose, and a little bit of joy. And talking of a little bit of joy, I've decided that I'm going to do a few of the phrases that frankly need to get in the bin. Phrases that absolutely boil my piss. Is boil my piss not one of the best phrases actually of all time? It's one of those phrases that if you're a little bit annoyed with anything, saying that boils my piss makes us naturally feel a little bit better. But the phrase that absolutely needs to get in the bin: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Oh, for the love of God, come on, Doris. No, this is not wisdom. Because I don't know about you, but some of the things that have nearly killed me definitely did not make me stronger. They made me want to get on the couch under the duvet and hide from the world for a blinking long time. They did not definitely make me stronger. They might have gifted me something a long time down the line, but no, I can't find in me anything that makes me think, oh, when my daughter had her accident and she was going through all that hideousness and she was on the couch and I was sat there wishing I could take the accident away from her and wishing I could do something to help her, I didn't think for one sodding stuffing minute, it's all right, Sarah, because actually this is going to make us stronger. What I thought is, this is making me want to run away. Let's be honest, what doesn't kill us sometimes also makes us anxious, exhausted, emotionally flooded, bitter, shut down, and full of absolutely top-knot rage that we've maybe shoved down so deep we forget that the rage is even ours. And then it comes up bubbling every now and again. So let's talk about it a little bit, because it really is around that whole resilience piece, which also won't come as a surprise, that also boils my piss every now and again. Trauma does not build character, my friends. Adversity does not automatically lead to growth. You know, we don't sit there and think, actually, what I need now is a big fat problem or a big fat challenge or something to really floor me, because then I'm going to learn and grow and reflect. The key is that we need to build our resilience frameworks, our resilience toolkits when things are good. Because actually, when that adversity hits, when that storm happens, then we have a toolbox that we can actually go into and get some stuff out of that will help us. It's not going to make us go, oh, boom, here's a lesson, let's bounce back. Also hate it when people tell us to bounce back. No, we can't bounce back from these things. What we can do is some inner work, the real work. We can do the reflection. We can do some healing. We can gift ourselves some healing. We can give ourselves some boundaries, maybe even gift ourselves some unlearning, and then we can rebuild. But it's not a straight rebuild. What doesn't kill us does not make us stronger. Get in the bin. It is a crock of shit. The work, the real work, building the resilience toolkits that we need, it doesn't happen by accident. It's not a given. And it's a choice that we have to make. It's a choice that we have to say to ourselves, I'm going to do this work now. You know, I call this the inner edge. This is all about our inner edge and how we move forward. Our grounded, quiet strength that helps us turn sometimes the chaos into clarity. But sometimes we have to wade through the treacle first. And sometimes we have to allow ourselves to wade through the stuffing treacle first as well. This is how we build resilience. But it's not about suddenly going, oh, boom, I've nailed it now. It's small, tiny little shifts that help us move from white knuckling it through life to actually living with intent, living with purpose, living with passion, living with a bit of joy amongst all the nonsense around us. It's about what we can do with this toolkit. Because the truth is, when the shit happened with Izzy in her accident, my daughter, there is no way that that adversity, that trauma was leaving us stronger. It was 4 years ago, and it still leaves us shaken to our core now. It still affects us on a daily basis. It definitely affects my daughter on a daily basis. It affects how she functions. It affects the control zones that she's put in place to function. And she's doing brilliantly. She's doing amazingly. And we found a pathway that works for us all. But we've all had to invest in it and work so blinking hard at it. Are we stronger? I'm not sure. Do we know what we need to do to move through? Absolutely. That's the key. Because if we don't look at these toolkits when we're well, when things like trauma hits, when things like adversity hits, when things like challenge hits, it can absolutely leave us shaken to the core. And that's then how we struggle to get started again. And we wear it. It leaks into how we lead, how we love, how we show up in our business, our life, our leadership. Talk about bloody wellness washing. All this nonsense around making ourselves stronger through crap that's happened is right at the heart of it. It's a lie. It's a lazy bloody lie. It ignores the emotional labour that we're carrying for ourselves, for other people, for the people in our care. It skips all the hard work of self-awareness and healing. And it slaps one of those bloody shiny labels on real pain and then tells us to be grateful for the stuff in lesson. No, thank you. I'd rather do without it. What does make us stronger is emotional clarity, is resilience practices that actually work, is saying no, is letting go with some of the shame, is acknowledging our vulnerability, is acknowledging that sometimes we find it tough, is leaning in to our support network, to telling people that we're having a crap day, a crap week, a crap month, or something's happening. Surrounding ourselves with the people who can see our mess and see our magic and love us in both of those areas. We've got this outdated idea that as women, we've got to be strong all the time, strong for the businesses we're running, strong for the teams that we're leading, strong for the team, strong for the kids, strong for the partner, the parents, the neighbours. The dog. I always need to be strong for the dog because she's a little princess that needs a lot of love, care, and attention. But that strongness can often mean that we're silent. That strong can often mean that we're sucking it up, that we're looking like we're always coping. And actually, it makes us really stuffing tired. We don't need to be stronger. We need to be better resourced. Let me say that again. We don't need to be stronger. We need to be better resourced. We need to look at what we can do when we're feeling all right on any given day of how we can build ourselves up. And this is where your inner edge comes into it. This is where the inner work comes into it. Your own practices, your mindset, your energy, where you place your impact when you've got the energy that you have. When the stuff was going on with Izzy in her accident, I had to be really mindful of where I was keeping and placing my energy for the impact that I needed to have. I still had to work. I had a business to run, but I had to reserve so much of my energy to holding my daughter up, to making sure she was okay. So that meant I had to be really careful about where I placed the other part of my energy and what reserves I could keep for myself. It's the difference between just getting through and learning to thrive again. So it's about looking at how we move forward, what we do with it. And there's a brilliant framework by Yuri Russo called the 6 fundamental domains of resilience. And maybe this is where you can start the work. Maybe you can start it right now whilst you're putting that phrase in the bin. The 6 domains of resilience have been identified as vision. So that's your purpose, your goals, how you balance things. This is a lot of what I talk about when I'm coaching and training women in my care. This is about how you lead with your personal value system. Your values become your standard bearers of success. If you can lead forward with your value system, with these being your totem pole of how you make decisions, this is how we build our resilience toolkit because it makes decision making and problem solving easier. The next domain is composure. And within composure, we're talking about how we handle stress, how we manage our calm, how we manage our control zones. Are we looking at what we can control, or are we spending a lot of our time in the circle of concern, stuff we can't do anything about? How we can regulate our emotions. That's not just about being aware of our emotions. That's learning about how we can regulate them in different situations. And then the next domain is reasoning. And within reasoning, we need to look at problem solving, resourcefulness, and how we anticipate and plan for adversity. Now, anticipating and planning for adversity isn't going, oh, I know what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time. That shit's going to hit the fan. That's understanding how you are going to deal with different situations, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what your resources are. Because the more that you can look at these strategies, the more that when you actually do hit a hump in the road, your brain will go, oh, we've got a plan for that. This is how we lean in. We give ourselves a little bit of time first to reflect, to reset, and the most important word, to recover. It's not about making yourself stronger. It's all about bloody recovery. The next domain is health. What we're putting in our bodies. How are we sleeping? Are we doing enough exercise, getting outside in nature, walking the stupid bloody dog? How we're helping ourselves from the inside out. The next domain is all about tenacity. And tenacity is all about our determination in the face of challenge. How we manage persistence. How we have realistic optimism. And then the final domain is collaboration. So blinking important. Where are your resources? Where are your people? Who are the people that you can lean on and lean into? These are your support networks, your social connections. How are you working with those people? How are you leaning in when you need that support? How are you asking for help? That might be through your friends, your families, your partners. But asking for help is really important when we're hitting humps in the road as part of our recovery. It's not about being broken. We're not built to carry all the shit on our shoulders on our own. You do not have to. So from here on in, if anyone says to you what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, you can punch them in the face. No, you can't. You can't punch them in the face. That's wrong. And then I'll get in trouble for it. Just tell them to put the phrase in the bin, because you will have addressed your domain of composure and you will know how to keep calm in those situations. And you will calmly and collectively tell that person that that phrase isn't relevant, because it's not about making you stronger. It's about looking at how you can recover, how you can rebuild, how you can reset, and how you can refocus. Because maybe it's about saying, what didn't kill me taught me that I need better recovery systems. Now that is a phrase I can get behind. I'm not sure it scans quite as well, but we could practice it. We could bring it together. That could be our call to arms. But maybe what your call to arms could be today is have a think about those 6 domains of resilience and have a think where you scale on each of those at the moment. Where is it you need to do the inner work? Where is it that you need to put a little bit of resources for yourself into that area to help you build that resilience toolkit? You do not need to perform resilience. You get to build it, and you get to build it on your terms. And I'm also here right with you to put all those bloody phrases in the bin that are stupid and boil our piss. So let me know. What phrases should get in the bin? Drop me a message, because I'd really like to know. Let's talk about it. Let's put these phrases in the bin once and for all, because that'll give us a little bit of fire in our souls, won't it? Having a little bit of a rant at that. Ranting's very good. It's definitely in there in our 6 domains of resilience. But also, if you're starting to do a little bit of work on this, have a think about how often you're gifting yourself that recovery time, that reset time, and that all-important reflection time. You do not need to be stronger, my love. You simply need to be resourced better. Have a brilliant day, evening, wherever you are in the world. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra! As we button up another episode of It's Got Pockets, remember that just like that perfect dress with hidden storage, you've got pockets of potential. You can be exactly who you are meant to be with no one getting in your way, not even yourself. just remember, you're not done yet. That plan B or plan C might be waiting for you. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to work with me, or simply want to connect, come and find me at sarahknightconsultancy.co.uk. On Instagram, I'm Ministry of Midlife, or on LinkedIn, you'll find me as Knighty S. See you next time.